Hey there beautiful, I'm Connor, and welcome to the video. I'm still wearing this bandana because my scab on my forehead hasn't healed, and pretty sure you don't want to see that, so I'll spare you. Now, I've been thinking recently about just software in general because I've actually been using some new software, and I've been thinking about, buying another piece of software. And when you're thinking about software for like video making or really anything else, there's a very big factor whenever deciding what software you're going to use, and that is price. Now, some people, they make a lot of money with video production, so price might not matter as much, but for people like me, smaller content creators, it does matter. Because the content we create, it's not a business, so it makes less sense to invest a large amount of money into software. Now, a lot of people, I myself included a while back, we hear about Adobe programs, and a lot of people think of it as kind of like the end-all be-all. At least a large majority of people do, because, Adobe it's very popular, especially with Photoshop, Premiere, After Effects, all of those things. And the Creative Cloud has basically every program that you need to use in order to do any kind of video production, whether it be small or large. So it's convenient also to invest in Adobe because you sort of get everything you need. But the big problem with Adobe, and the big problem I've had, and I know a lot of other people have had in recent years, is their subscription model. Whenever you get Adobe programs, it's less like you're buying them and more like you're renting them because it's a subscription. You don't have the option to just buy a permanent license. You have to do either a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription. And recently also the price for that has kind of been going up, and it's been getting more and more expensive. Now again, if you're doing large budget projects, then it doesn't matter as much. But for smaller creators, it really does matter. I've already made a video on my channel before talking about, programs that can be used as alternatives to the Adobe programs. In that video, I talk about HitFilm as being a video editor and compositor, because there's a free version, HitFilm Express. I'll talk about Affinity Photo as an alternative to Photoshop. It's only $50, and it has, I'd say, 90% of the functionality without breaking your bank. And of course, everyone knows about Audacity. It's an open source, free DAW digital audio workspace. So it makes a lot of sense to use it because it's not costing you anything but time to use it. However, recently, at least as far as the most recent videos on my channel, I've actually been using different programs. I still use Affinity Photo to make thumbnails, for example, because, I actually bought it when it's $35 because it was a sale and it's a great deal. But as far as video editing and audio recording and editing, the DAW, I've actually been using two new programs. Well, they're not new, but they're new to me. The big one, the video editor, it's something called Davinci Resolve. It's by Blackmagic Design, and they make cameras. They also make a bunch of other hardware and software for video production. Now, the great thing about Davinci Resolve is, kind of like HitFilm, there's a completely free version. But unlike HitFilm, the free version is a much more complete program. When I say that, is that the difference between the free and paid version of Davinci, really the biggest thing is you're missing out on very few video effects that, I don't even use, and multi-person working, because the paid version is Davinci Resolve Studio, and there's a server that you can use to use different people so they can all work on it at the same time, but I don't do that, and a lot of people, if they're independent, they don't do that, so it's not very necessary to use it. I've been loving Davinci Resolve. Now, there's plenty of videos out there on YouTube that can go more in depth about the amazingness of Resolve and, how to use it, tutorials and whatnot, but the biggest thing that I love about it is the color grading. Now, Davinci Resolve It works in like these tabs and these windows. There's the media page where you organize your media. There's the edit page where you actually do your editing, or your timeline. There's Fusion, which kind of like After Effects is a video compositor, but it's a node system instead of a layered system. And again, there's more videos out there that go more in depth about it. It does the same thing, just in a different style. And then there's the color workspace. Davinci started off as being just a color grading software, and it's been used on plenty of movies in the past as kind of like being the last bit of software that touched, the video, because for color grading, it's basically almost unbeat. Then there's the exporting the deliver, I think it's called, page, and it's just for exporting, changing your settings and whatnot. It's basic. The fact that there is a free version of Resolve means that its marginal value for me goes through the roof, because it does everything I need and it doesn't cost me anything except for time to learn how to use it, which means it benefits me a lot more without costing me a lot more. I do highly recommend it because it's free, because if you want to get in and learn it, again, it's not costing you anything. Resolve, even the free version, can definitely be used for commercial work as well as smaller individual work. The biggest downside is if you're working with a larger crew and multiple people, then you might want to look into the studio version because, it supports multi-person working basically. Again, there are plenty of videos on YouTube that go into Resolve, and there's a lot of videos comparing it to something like Premiere and even like Apple's Final Cut Pro, and a lot of videos of people talking about why they switched to Resolve and why, for them at least, it's better and why it benefits them more, because it's really good. And the other program that I'm talking about, I'm using it right now to record my microphone audio, is Reaper. Reaper is a DAW, a digital audio workspace, which means it can be used to record and edit audio. Now, a lot of them, like FL Studio and Audition, Avid Pro Tools, and there's more out there that I can't name. A lot of them, they're used for music productions, but they can also work really, really well with just, voice and audio editing, because the extensiveness of the programs, they're really good for that. Now, Reaper, there's a discounted or personal license where you can buy it if you're not making like $20,000 with the program or something like that, but almost anyone can buy it basically. It's only $60, I think, last time I checked. That, again, for what it can do, is an insanely good deal. Because for $60, you can do a lot. One of the key differences between something like Reaper and Audacity for me is applying effects is a lot faster, because it's not like you're recording something and then just baking in an effect into the whole file, which is known as destructive editing. Instead, there's like this FX key where you can add effects and you can turn it on and off, you can toggle them and whatnot. It makes working with it a lot faster. And as a matter of fact, I'm not doing this, but you can make a track, apply a certain amount of effects before you even start recording. So you can do that, hit record, and then just export it without even messing with it. Now, you might not want to do that for certain situations, but it's something you can do. Again, if you want to learn more about it, there are more videos out there on YouTube that go more in depth about it and can explain to you why you might want to use it. I'm actually going to leave a link in the description to Booth Junkies. He's a YouTube creator his name is Mike Delgaudio, I think. He's a professional voice actor, and he has a sexy voice, a really, really good voice. And he has like a whole lot of videos about how to use Reaper, how to set it up, how to make the workflow more efficient. So if you want to learn more about it, you can definitely go and look at that. Why am I talking about this? Why am I bringing this up? Well, it's simple. There are plenty of people out there that want to create some sort of content, whether it be for YouTube or just personal use, but a lot of people think that they have to use certain programs because other people use them, like professionals use the Adobe programs or whatever, so they think they have to use it. I was one of these people for a while, but that's not true. There are plenty of alternatives to not just Adobe, but to a lot of other like more expensive programs that can definitely work just fine for your personal use and even for commercial use. Now, there are certain reasons as to why you might want to do something like Adobe, but for most people out there that are thinking about using the Adobe programs, there are plenty of alternatives that will cost you less but benefit you just as much. Basically, the idea of this is just, if you want to get into any sort of content creation, you should really explore your options as far as software and hardware even. Don't just fall into this idea of thinking you have to use certain programs because other people use them. It's definitely not true. I'm a minimalist, so I generally try to do the minimum amount necessary in order to get the outcome that I want, and that also applies to buying things. I don't want to spend a lot of money in order to get something when I could spend less money to get something that can benefit me. A lot of people in recent years have been moving away from Adobe because of the subscription model, and you know, it makes sense. It's almost parasitic. You don't ever really truly own the programs because you're renting them, basically. I don't have anything against the actual software, but thinking about the actual value of it when you consider the price, it's not worth it for a lot of people. It's not up to me to decide whether you need it or not. It is up to you, but I think it's good to keep an open mind and try and think about certain alternatives so you can do what you need to do and not waste money. At the end of the day, that's just going to benefit you. I hope this video could be helpful to someone, maybe to just give you the idea of certain alternatives you can use, or to just maybe give you the idea of trying to keep an open mind and look for alternatives instead of just, you know, submitting to the Adobe subscription model, which, you know, will cost you a lot of money. But I basically said everything I had to say. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time you see me. Bye.